Alright y'all, it's time for a classic Hinata Twist style video. Today we're going to be talking about the impact of the Budokai series. Y'all know me, I like to consider myself an OG Dragon Ball enjoyer since day one. Shout out to the Usos. So talking about this should be a breeze. Hopefully it's enough to get past 10 minutes. But anyways, the Dragon Ball Z Budokai series. When the original Budokai was released, I was way too young to understand life in general. That included video gaming. Budokai 1 released when I was only 3 years old, so of course I had no choice but to skip. But fast forward to 2004, I was in kindergarten and I had just turned 5 years old. For my birthday, which I basically didn't even understand what that meant, my parents took me to what I believe was a Best Buy and told me to pick out a video game. And the first thing that caught my 5-year-old eyeball was the cover of Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2 for the PlayStation 2. An unforgettable birthday present that still affects me to this day. I vividly remember that I was so excited that when I got home, I didn't even finish the sounds they had prepared for me. I hopped on the PS2 and was in pure awe. Seeing Master Roshi spin around in the loading screen, the iconic opening music, and then that title screen. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2. Which is crazy because I'm almost positive I couldn't read it at the time, but I opened up to the main menu and there I would create lifetime memories. Y'all gotta understand that this is probably my first ever fighting game. Yeah, I played WWE SmackDown Shut Your Mouth and all, but playing a Dragon Ball Z game is much different than a wrestling game. You see, knocking people up in the air and shooting energy beams was just mesmerizing to me. So much destruction in the world and it was all in my little hands. The only person who played with me was my sister, and I still remember the day she did a Kamehameha. I was legit confused, and nobody would tell me how it was done. It took me like a week to figure out how. As I told y'all, I could barely read. It didn't even click to me that I had to complete the story mode to unlock more characters. I gotta say, the story mode for Budokai 2 was much more complex than Budokai 1's linear story mode. I don't know what kind of checkerboard or game type stuff they were doing with Budokai 2, but it clearly wasn't working out because it wasn't added in Budokai 3. But yeah, I didn't quite understand what I was supposed to be doing. So my dad had to help me complete the story mode and unlock characters. My dad was completing battles and unlock characters, and I remember everything was going so well. Then one day, I decided to hop on Budokai 2. And that was the day I learned the difference between new and load game. I had started a completely new game and erased all the progress my dad made. I think that was one of the earliest memories of me feeling disappointment in my life. But you know what? Even though I lost all my characters, the base ones were still good enough to me. So, after enough time went on of me playing Budokai 2, it was time to move on. It was time for Budokai 3. I think it was a year later, this time around, after enough knowledge in school, my reading skills had increased tenfold.
Give you some good news. As a grade 8, a Saiyan's power level increases tenfold.
I was going to be caught lacking this time. Budokai 3 is probably the game where I hold most memories because I was finally able to understand it completely. This game, y'all, this game is in my top 10 video games of all time for a reason. A PlayStation hit. First off, the story mode was solid. It had a ton of decent characters instead of just Goku, and it really pieced together the Dragon Ball Z story for me. Back then, because I was so young, I could only see bits and pieces of Dragon Ball Z on TV, so it was really hard to get the story, but I knew all the characters. But I remember one time I was doing Kid Gohan's story and everything was going well until I stumbled across a freaking 12-foot third form Frieza. For the first time in my life, my heart literally beat out my chest. I turned off my PS2 in disbelief. I wasn't prepared for any of that because Frieza only had one transformation in the previous games. But yeah, I grew up real quickly with that revelation. Anyways, the main selling point in Budokai 3 were the movie characters in Dragon Ball GT. I had little to no knowledge about movie characters, and especially Dragon Ball GT. I remember looking up cheats for Budokai 3, and one of the objectives were playing Goku's story mode and doing some other stuff. Well, somehow, someway, I stumbled across Broly for the first time in my life. When the first time I tell y'all I seen Broly, I was in complete disbelief. Mainly because Bro couldn't even fit on the screen. Luckily, it was just Budokai 3 Broly, and not freaking Budokai Tenkaichi Super Duper Armor Broly, and I eventually got him unlocked. It was cool because I could use him in the story modes and I eventually got used to him. Now, about the GT characters, I still remember being introduced to GT characters because I'll never forget the cutscene of when Goku turned Super Saiyan 4 for the first time.
What? What is this place? I don't know why, but my body hurts. What's going on here? Yes! My head is throbbing! It feels like it's gonna split in two! What's happening to me? I can't stop it! I'm losing my mind! I can feel it! I'm changing! Chi-Chi! Goten! Everyone! What is this? I don't understand it. Why did my body transform? And where did I get this incredible power?
Like, dog, why would they do that to 6-year-old me? That was not how he transformed in the TV show at all. But it was all good, because when I saw that red Super Saiyan 4 Kamehameha times 10 hit for the first time, I was like, yeah, Super Saiyan 4 Goku kinda hard. But yeah, the story mode is a pure adventure, being all sorts of characters with the unique story mode, then unlocking cool moves and abilities. When you were done with the story mode, it was time to finally put everything you earned to use. From Big Bang attacks to fusion characters, so many skills to use and so many transformations. The Budokai series also had one of the greatest Easter eggs in Dragon Ball games. Find me another Dragon Ball game where you could be freaking Majin Vegeta while still in his Saiyan armor. Saiyan armor. It was cool because you could see the cracks in the armor and stuff, which made the game feel more epic. The transformations were top tier. As I said, this is the first game where you could be all forms of Frieza, even Mecha, not to mention Metal Cooler, and the fusions were next level. It was one thing to be Gotenks and Vegito, but we finally had Gogeta too. And don't get me started on the Super Saiyan 4 form. Like, dog, that's the most powerful character in Dragon Ball game to this date. Who else is doing that much damage in a single attack? The one thing that sucked about the Fusion and the Budokai series were the time limits. Yeah, I know that's how it happened in the TV show, but come on now. Finally getting to your opponent in a spot and hitting him, then trying to get all the button presses correct in one attempt or it transform into a giant balloon was kinda lame. Especially Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. The good news for him is that you automatically get it correct, but you can only be broke for like 10 seconds before he uses up all his energy. But man, that damage was criminal. Learning more about movie characters, I was introduced to Bardock for the first time. I spent like 20 minutes wondering why Bro couldn't transform because, I mean, he had the same hair as Goku. I was wondering why Broly was so angry all the time. The game didn't explain much and the story mode was basically Broly's second coming, so that wasn't much help. I was also introduced to the villain, the monster, Omega Shenron. This man was just straight up sinister. This dude voice and his spikes were pretty much dead giveaway. He's the only character in the game that literally had his energy all the way up and surrounded by lightning straight out the box. I already knew this man was no joke. That's why he ended up becoming my go-to character for World Tournament. The World Tournament was almost like it was in actual Dragon Ball /Z. Fast-paced combat, and if you're anywhere near the edge, you get knocked out, big dog. Keep your energy up at big times, hence why I use Omega Shenron for majority of the battles. The difficulty got insane the more battles you did, and nothing was more annoying when these people add Kid Buu to take away all your hard work, cause bro is literally like the second best straight out the box. Not to mention those extended armors, so Omega Shenron can only do so much to keep up. There's also the last one, Dragon Arena. It was basically the same as Duel, but the coins got increasingly stronger, and I didn't really like challenges back then. I just played for the fun, and there was nothing fun about getting clapped with a level 90 cell. I just stuck to playing the duel mode, and that was quite enough for me. Now y'all probably wondering, where does Budokai 1 come into this? And I'll tell you, I didn't get my hands on my first copy of Budokai 1 until 10 years after the originally released. Back in 2011/12, there were rumors of a Budokai series being remastered, and that honestly had me about as hyped as the Budokai Tenkaichi 4 remaster that got announced a couple months ago. The games that I enjoyed so much coming back for round 2. My childhood, even though I was still a child, was reignited. So for Christmas 2012, I wanted two main things: a cell phone and the Dragon Ball Z Budokai HD collection. Yes, I ended up getting both. I can't remember whether it was out of a stocking or a gift wrap, but when I saw that regular Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Goku on the cover, it was a dream come true. It was then for the first time ever that I played through the Budokai 1 story mode for the first time in my life. I beat it from episode 1 to Cell. Oh, and because I had never previously played the Budokai 1 story mode, I was not prepared for Cell. I can tell you that much. I played through the Budokai 1, and now it's time once again for my favorite video game, or my top 10 video games of all time, Budokai 3. It was amazing. Everything that I loved except remastered in high definition. That was by far one of the most memorable Christmases in my life. And yes, while Budokai 1 and 3 were fun, the decision to not add Budokai 2 was insane. I don't know what they were smoking, but apparently it wasn't perceived well by fans. I don't know who said that, but they were definitely capped. Mind you, this is the only Dragon Ball game in the world where you can absorb Cell and Frieza with Super Buu. You could literally do a fusion with Tien and Yamcha, or Pretora with Goku and Hercule. I don't understand how any of this was not perceived well by any fan. I would gladly pay $70 for a Budokai 2 HD remaster alone this very day. So the impact the Budokai series had on me, it still affects me to this day. I go back and play these games because I was in a place of peace and happiness. Video games were when I was so young in life and I didn't care about anything in the world. I remember before I got serious about content creation, I would do anything to play these games again and relive the memories. But this time, I can capture them on video. The very same Budokai HD game I got in 2012 is responsible for my most viewed video in the world. I captured it on my Xbox 360. Before I started doing content creation, I never knew that there was other people in the world that felt the same as me. I didn't even know there was a Budokai community. And man, ever since the release of Dragon Ball FighterZ, there have been so many people bashing the Budokai series. Like, come on dog, you're bashing a 20-year-old game that literally paved the way for fighters. And the games that came before that. Back then, you will always see the Budokai series on any of your friends' house or people you didn't even know who played fighting games, and you'll see the cases sit on top of their PlayStation 2 or something. Because anyone can play Budokai. You can't say the same for Dragon Ball FighterZ. The only people that Dragon Ball FighterZ caters to are hardcore fighting fans. Not everyone knows how to play. You can't do passive controller tournaments unless you spend hours in practice mode learning one combo, and there's no fun in that, especially in parties. But yeah, basically this is my video essay on the greatest series of video games in history. I know you're probably thinking, where's Infinite World? And I was debating on adding it, but is it really Budokai or just Budokai 3 with DLC? So yeah, I could probably make a video on that on the end, let y'all know how it impacted me and stuff. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Let Bandai know that we want a Budokai 2 remaster and perhaps maybe even a remake. No, I'm kidding. But if you enjoyed, like the video, subscribe and share. I'm genuinely enjoying making these types of videos because I'm passionate about this series. Thanks for watching this long awaited video of how the Budokai series impacted me. Take care everyone. Until we meet again.
お前の攻撃めちゃめちゃかゆいぜ。